Hey everybody, that was a stupid way to start a video. I haven't done this in a while, so excuse me if I'm a bit rusty. But believe it or not, I've been trying to make more of a subtle shift in my content to being less kind of abrasive and shitty about everything. And I've thought, hey, what better way to put positive energy out into the world than to talk about an indie game that doesn't have a lot of attention on it. So I played through two indie adventure games, both made by the same studio. The games I'm talking about are The Uncertain, Last Quiet Day, and Light at the End. The Uncertain is kind of a shitty name. The basic premise of these games is that their world has been taken over by robots. Pretty simple shit. Except, wait a minute, it's not so simple. There was an OS update all these service robots had, and it convinced them that human beings had bombed themselves into non-existence due to endless wars. So robots are thinking that, they're just what's left over. So I actually played The Last Quiet Day after Light at the End. Light at the End, I didn't realize this until after I played the game, but Light at the End actually came out after The Last Quiet Day. So for that reason, I'm going to talk about Light at the End first, and then I'm going to talk about Last Quiet Day after. So these games are adventure games that were made by a company called New Game Order. There's a lot of jank. There's a lot of not great aspects about them. If you decide to play them yourself, they're not going to blow your mind. It's not going to be the craziest, most amazing indie games you've ever played. I think there's a lot of talent here, and there's a lot of good stuff here that can be explored and evolved upon. I'm a creative myself. I totally know what it's like to try to make something and not have it get a lot of attention, or to not feel super polished in what you're putting out there. I've never made a game. I'm making one in dreams, but even that is just like fucking, it's kind of a garbage fire, and I'm trying to make something out of it. But I did genuinely enjoy my time with this game. I don't know exactly what this game would need to be, to take it to the next level and really be something that shines. But I just thought I would talk about it and see what other people think and maybe get some more attention on it. Maybe that's what they need, is more talent involved. I don't know how they're funding this. Could be crowdfunded, or it could be funded totally in-house. I don't know. But The Last Quiet Day was released back in 2016. Light at the End was released in 2020. It centers around a couple of characters who are hiding out from the robots in a shelter, and every now and then they go out to search for supplies and come back in. At first, I had no idea the context of this when I was going into it. You start playing as this girl Emily and her friend Park. They're going into a drugstore to look for some medicine for people who are back at the shelter.
There's no time, Em. Saw some cops down the block. Probably the neighborhood patrol. Have you got the list?
No, but we know what we need. Vera was up all night. If we don't find something to break the fever, sooner or later, someone's gonna hear her crying. That's priority number one.
And then it just continues as a pretty basic adventure game. You go around, you analyze different objects that you find. There are some puzzles to solve as well. And it's pretty cool how much of the character of Emily comes out as she examines more things. It's not like the most, crazy, super amazing, empowering female character of all time, but she is pretty well realized, I think, in just the way that she analyzes certain things and the things that she does.
Much better. I never realized how much I miss drawing.
She seems to really care about the people around her. She is sort of a glue that sticks the whole group together. And she seems to really value this idea of family. But she also is really young and not as experienced. No one's really experienced in this whole situation. Her youth and her naivete kind of shows a bit.
We could drop kick the kitty, distract the cop with a flying cat.
How about I drop kick you instead? Don't you listen to him.
Where the game really shines is environment design. Some of these indie games have some incredible environment designers. In this different era, in this different time where robots have taken over and everything's very futuristic, I really enjoyed the different environments that I saw in this game. Everything felt really fully realized, and it made me wish I could explore a lot more of it. That's not anything against the game, by the way. The game has a specific progression through it, but it does also have different choices that you can make which affect the way that the story goes. This leads to one of the downsides of the game, I think. Unlike something like Heavy Rain or Detroit Become Human, when you make a choice in this game, there doesn't seem to be a logical connection between the choice that you made and the outcome that you get. When I first played through it, I got a certain ending where the baby of the group, Vera, was taken away. And I didn't understand why. I didn't understand if I'd done something wrong or if I had what I did wrong. I had no idea. After playing through the game again, I tried my best to make some different decisions, but it didn't feel like there were all that many areas where I could make really significant decisions that would logically progress to a different outcome. Like, all the events were basically the same. The one major decision that was different in the game was right at the beginning, where a robot comes in and you're asked to either help Park escape or to flee by yourself. Regardless of what you choose at that point, Park makes it back, and it's unclear actually how he made it back. He says that he used a flare gun to get away, and maybe this is the catalyst for some mystery later on. But aside from that one thing, I really couldn't think of anything I'd done really all that different that would lead me to get to a separate ending. But as I continued playing, it actually kind of blew my mind where I did get a different ending. Suddenly, Park also got kidnapped along with the baby in the later part of the game, and I didn't really know why.
Park? No, it's his asthma. We have to do something.
What's happening, Alex?
I don't know. I've never seen bots like these.
What are you doing? Leave him alone!
There was nothing in my mind saying, oh, because I did this thing, that's why that happened. I still don't know. Maybe I did something subtle, or maybe it was just that major choice at the beginning that caused it, even though the immediate outcome wasn't all that different. I was looking back at the ending scene to get some more footage because some of my footage didn't quite go through. I realized that the game has A, a much better autosave system than I thought it did, but B, you can't skip dialogue, which is a little annoying, but that's beside the point. The point is, I noticed that there were some subtle differences between cutscenes that I hadn't realized, and these subtle differences hint at the group having a different level of approval toward Emily across different playthroughs.
You never seen a courier bot before? They're a lot like you. Can't handle more than one thought at a time. No need for hysterics.
Yeah, you're sure?
Look, someone was here before us.
I bet the cops took them. Damn place doesn't feel safe. We should leave, soon.
Oh, relax. You don't know that. Besides, you wanted to eat something, right? It's a perfectly fine place to camp.
I'm with Claire. I'll get the fire started so we can all get warmed up and eat something.
They're just courier bots. Dumber than a bag of hammers, really. Nothing at all to worry about.
Yeah, you're sure?
Look, someone was here before us.
Well, it was nice of them to leave their stuff behind. I say we rest here and have something to eat. Hunger pains are starting to set in.
Agreed. We could use a break. Would you mind getting a fire started, boys? Somewhere where it can't be seen from outside.
Hell yes, I need a snack. One fire coming right up.
It seemed like the second time around, the group found me a lot more favorable and were more willing to go along with whatever we as a group decided than they were in my first playthrough, which is really interesting because I felt like in my second playthrough, I spent a lot less time with the group as a whole. Judging from the Steam achievements, there are definitely different levels of approval that the group can have depending on the choices you make. But I'm still not really sure what those choices are, what actually influences the group approval or individual character approval. So, as I said, it's an adventure game a la Heavy Rain or Detroit Become Human. Even, I just played the Medium. Even that is really an adventure game in the same vein. A lot of the stuff that I don't like about Light at the End is stuff that the Medium had, which I thought made it very good. Light at the End struggles with presentation. It struggles with really creating gripping emotional sequences. Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, say what you want about those games, but they really make each in the moment decision feel very intense and meaningful. I don't know what it is in this game. It seems like it's a combination of a lot of things. The music isn't as powerful as it needs to be. The sound effects, the set piece itself doesn't seem as grand. And then the choices you make in these moments aren't really that big of a deal. Whenever there is an action sequence in Light at the End, it's either a stealth sequence where you literally just press a button to move along the edge of something, and there's really no choices to be made during those sequences, or there's like a quick one button quick time event, which doesn't even really like match up to what's happening on the screen. It's just like press a button and then this whole sequence of things happens. Meanwhile, you know, in Detroit Become Human or Heavy Rain, just looking at the first thing that happens in Detroit Become Human, where you have to save the girl from the robot on the top of the roof, and there are just so many little choices in that one moment. It's so intense and almost overwhelming how much is going on in that sequence. It makes you feel like you have to make the right choice and do everything in the right way. Having everything boil down to a quick time event, it's something I've seen a lot of other indie games do as well, and that's really frustrating. But like, no one likes quick time events. Let's try to evolve away from those in general. If you have to do quick time events, you should at least do it Heavy Rain style, where it's like, if you choose a certain path, then you have to kind of justify that choice by getting through this what should be a difficult QuickTime event sequence rather than just pressing one button. So the action sequences are really not there, and the game really dissolves at the very end in the final action sequence. It almost frustratingly so, because it is so it is so dull and boring when it's supposed to be this really big deal. Like, you go to this meeting point that you're supposed to get to. There's this resistance of robots that are trying to help you escape. And you get there and you find out the place has been overrun with robots. And this is what it looks like in the game. It's just like everything went wrong here. There's just not enough robots. The threat doesn't seem real or pressing. She's able to, in terms of the actual gameplay itself, she's able to sneak by them fairly inconsequentially. Like, yeah, I just think this whole sequence should be redone. You know, put more robots in there, boost the sound effects, make the music more intense, make it feel like there's really some kind of danger here. But that's not to say it's all bad. And a lot of this could come down to maybe budget or, you know, I don't know, lack of, you know, manpower behind it. But I think there is a lot to be enjoyed with this game. And again, overall, I really enjoyed it. Part of the fun of this whole thing was just seeing how much care went into the environment design and the little subtle details of everything. Dude, there are so many fucking Easter eggs. References to God of War, references to Halo, Ratchet and Clank, Death Stranding even, can you believe it? Fucking, there are references up the ass that I can't even remember off the top of my head, and I'll show them in the video clips. There's just so many of them, and these guys really are clearly very big fan of games. So I do think there was a lot of care and effort that went into this. When the game is just being an adventure game without all the high stakes drama, without all the big bombastic set pieces, that's when it shines the most. The puzzle design I thought was really fun. I didn't like the fact that you can just skip the puzzles on your first playthrough. I get it. Some of them are a bit obtuse, but I really liked the challenge of being able to having to figure out the rules of the puzzle. Even though they didn't make sense in the game universe, it seemed rather like a puzzle that someone just kind of designed on their own and then decided, hey, let's put it in the game without having to justify it too much, which, you know what, for an indie game, whatever. At least they were challenging. But beyond the puzzles, just the environment design and getting to you know, examine and explore these areas was really great. And it really felt like there were a lot of little details to find. And I wonder if some of the subtle choices I made in what I chose to examine or not actually made a difference. But judging by the achievements, there were different things I could have done in these different areas, and maybe I'm just so hardwired a certain way, I decided to just play the game mostly the same way both times. But I'm actually curious to see how much else there is, stuffed into these environments, because there's definitely a lot of detail in them. But beyond the environment, beyond the puzzles, there's the character drama. And I thought, while not the most compelling or captivating stuff in the world, it was fairly convincing. Thought the acting was pretty good. The subtitles need a hell of a lot of work.
They flooded the water supply with harmful nanites, sending most of the population into a coma-like state. Mechanized police and drones search relentlessly for any remaining signs of life. Even most domestic bots now report humans on sight.
But the actual dialogue itself was pretty good. There was a decent amount of tension between the characters.
Roof over our heads, sharing a hot meal with friends. What more than that does a man need to be happy? Really?
Whatever, old-timer. It's gonna take a lot more than that to make me happy.
Considering the state of things, I'm just grateful I'm still breathing. Learn to appreciate the small stuff.
Dude, maybe life before the incident wasn't much different for you. But some of us actually made a very nice living before everything went to shit. We are not the same, man.
Not all of it was well realized or convincing, but I felt like enough of it was for me to enjoy my time with these characters and to want to see their story through to the end.
If these punks want to run off and get themselves killed, let them. We're way too old for this shit.
Just shut it. You can't split up the group. Not now.
Oh yeah? Just watch me. I should have done it yesterday. Claire, Brian, and I are going back, and I don't give a damn what you say.
What about Olga, Alex? We're not going to find Vera by sitting in the shelter.
Exactly. We need to meet up with Fletcher. He might know something about those white robots.
Enough! I'm sick of hearing about Fletcher. This is insanity. Has been from the start. I can't believe I bought into it.
Alex, please, not now.
I'm done here. We're leaving. Come on.
And so in those 2 or 3 sections throughout the game where you actually just get to be in the hideout and talk to the other characters, I legitimately wanted to go around and figure out who these guys were, what they were doing, how could I help. There's a part where you have to fix the plumbing in the hideout, which sounds super boring, but it's all very character driven, so it feels meaningful at the very least. My first playthrough, I spoke to Olga, who's the mother of this child, Vera, who gets taken later, and she asked me to fix the squeaking on her baby carriage because it was squeaking so much. And I realized during my second playthrough that I just completely forgot to do that. And so at the end of my first playthrough, I get to a point where Olga, no matter what I say, just does not want to come with me.
Screw Fletcher, and screw you! You're crazy if you think I'm going anywhere with you. Leave me alone. Leave me alone!
During my second playthrough, she did come with me.
Olga, I'll do everything I possibly can to bring Vera back. That's a promise. We will find her, but we have to get going, please. Fletcher can help us. I'm sure of it.
All right.
So I'm thinking now, hey, maybe if I had helped fix her baby carriage, that she would have just come with me with no issue. And to be honest, that sounds kind of dumb. It sounds kind of dumb that one singular choice would have affected her deciding to come with me or not on the chance of being rescued by these robots. But that is an element that I would like to see broadened and explored, because you can sit down and talk to these characters. During my second playthrough, I did help her fix the carriage. I also barely took any time whatsoever to talk to Olga at all. So it seems weird that helping her do that one thing, suddenly she would want to just come with me. So I'm not sure that that's exactly what caused it, but it is a possibility because it's one thing I did differently between the 2 playthroughs. But I think those elements where you are inside the hideout and you get to just talk to the different members, those could be, expanded upon and given more weight. Who do you decide to talk to? Who do you decide to spend time with? Who do you decide to actually help or not help? And maybe part of the issue with this game is its brevity. It's really, really short, about 5 hours, even that. Maybe in that amount of time, it's hard to, have these really meaningful, thought-out decisions and have this really meaningful, thought-out character drama and have those decisions affect how the character drama plays out. That's certainly not a whole lot of time, but maybe the game could make up for that lack of time with bigger, more meaningful moments, like the one with Park in the beginning of the game, where you can either leave him behind or help him. Maybe more moments like that, Heavy Rain style, Detroit Become Human style, could make the character drama shift in a lot bigger and more meaningful ways. That said, I think this is a solid foundation. The game's technically not even out yet. It's in early access, I guess. I'm not sure how much of this will change between now and when the game is officially out, but I hope they can give it some more of that gravitas that it needs to really feel like a meaningful experience. But now we get to talk about what is kind of ostensibly the better game, which is Last Quiet Day.
Humans. We replaced them. It took them ages to achieve what we have done in just a few years. We have formed a perfect society. Robots will not repeat the destructive human mistakes of the past. We are rational and logical. We do not fight in wars, and we cannot get ill. By replacing humans, we interrupted the self-destructive cycle of these intelligent but highly aggressive former inhabitants of the Earth. But it is going to take decades to reconstruct the world that they destroyed. Then, our robot race will flourish under the guidance of our creator, the USS Corporation.
Now, in Last Quiet Day, it takes away sort of the facade of being an action-adventure game, and it just is straight up isometric camera adventure game. You control, instead of a human, a robot, which makes the dialogue so great in this game, because you're literally an emotionless robot conversing with other emotionless robots.
I am probably wrong, but after I talked with Gregory, I thought that there was more to it than just following the helping humans idea.
Well spotted. I thought about that too. However, robots have no feelings.
And it is simultaneously funny and just so compelling in a really strange way.
Thank you for coming, RT. It is good that you joined our organization.
You left me no choice. If I refused to assist, then you would have disintegrated me just like the police robots. But it is contrary to one of my priorities, which is self-protection. That is why I am forced to help you.
Do not worry. You will see the truth soon enough, and then you will help us voluntarily.
While the character drama is not really there because all these characters are emotionless robots, it doesn't really matter because it's still really captivating regardless somehow. The presentation by itself makes it a much more interesting game to look at and to play through. The environments feel even more stuffed with detail when you just have this isometric camera. Makes it feel much more like an adventure game, more polished, more stylized than the other game does. The puzzles are just as great in this as they are in Light at the End. There's this actually fucking amazing puzzle that actually floored me. You get to an abandoned bar where this robot informant you're looking for is hiding out. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs here, a lot of different stuff to interact with.
Evidently, my gyroscope needs calibrating.
You have a key that fits into one of the doors, but that only gets you so far. You need to find your way deeper into the hidden recesses of this bar area. There's a jukebox that you can interact with, and the game doesn't really direct you toward anything, but when you do interact with it, there are two different tracks you can cycle through. Both of them are jazz-sounding tracks. One of them feels like more full piece, and the other one cuts off short, very notably so. Turns out the 4 notes that the saxophone are playing here are the code to a secret bunker door. So you think of the letter that corresponds to the musical note that's playing, and you punch it into this bunker door, and it opens the secret area. Now, I figured this puzzle out on my first try. I didn't realize that if you press the letter keys on the door, it actually plays the notes for you, just in case you don't really know music like that. I don't have perfect pitch either, but I have a tuner on my phone, so I was able to use that. But that was a really fucking cool puzzle, and it actually is one of the coolest puzzles I've ever played in a game. It actually made me think beyond the game itself. And I always neglect to talk about this, but this is a pretty good segue. The music in this game was phenomenal. Really good stuff.
My music will save the day, and Alex said it was a waste of time. Ha! Crap, I knew the mid-range was too low in this mix.
Move it! Run!
Very Heavy Rain vibes with the very strong emotional kind of feeling to it. The melodies are very subdued, and the strings, especially guitar and piano stuff, they're kind of very elongated, very trying to evoke a lot of very somber emotions. The only difference I would say between this and something like Heavy Rain or Detroit Become Human is that these pieces don't have as much of the intensity as the Heavy Rain pieces have. You know, Heavy Rain has some really strong action music. Detroit Become Human has some very, very powerful, strong emotional music when it gets to those really gripping emotional parts. And these games, they can hit the really somber, depressing emotional note there, but they have a hard time hitting that intensity, just like the rest of the game does. Weirdly though, the sound effect for where you get caught in Light at the End is so fucking powerful. I'm certainly more interested in Light at the End than I am Last Quiet Day. And when I played it, I thought it was, at the time, like a DLC add-on to Light at the End. I didn't realize that it actually had come out before. And maybe that's shaped my view on it because I still kind of see it as like a prologue to this bigger story. It details the life of this robot right before it goes on to try to save the humans at the end of the next game. It gives you a bit more idea of the backstory of this world-changing event, how the robots came to take over everything, and why there's a faction of resistance robots in the first place. It was a pretty solid 3 or 4 hours with some pretty decent environmental puzzles and actual 2D puzzles. My least favorite part was probably controlling this fucking car in the woods. It just controlled so badly. The developers seem to like to do this, to have other mechanics and other game types in their games, which I'm a huge fan of. I love when games break from their genre just for a moment to give you something really interesting. So all in all, Last Quiet Day, pretty fun experience. Definitely felt a lot more polished and stylized than Light at the End did. Light at the End was building up to something that it never quite realizes. Last Quiet Day felt more complete, despite it being shorter than Light at the End. And to be totally honest, that might have just been because I played it after, and it ends on the same cliffhanger where Emily, who you don't really get to see as Emily, gets rescued by the robot you've been playing as. And then the game ends and it says there's going to be more to come. Light at the End feels like it was supposed to go on to do more. You know, there's more humans, there's more character drama there that it feels like it's building up toward, and then it just sort of ends really quickly. Then it does the whole sci-fi.
My name is Emily. It means worthy opponent. I will not give up.
Kind of thing where it's just like, why does that matter? But, you know, I enjoyed both games. Last Quiet Day had a lot of the same issues with sort of a lack of weight, a lack of intensity to the bigger set pieces. But I feel like the game overall was a lot quieter and a lot more subdued, which helped move it forward. That's where these games really shine, as those quieter, subdued moments where you just get to explore the environment rather than trying to do the big, bombastic, Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human style set pieces. I wish these developers the best, New Game Order. In their current state, I would say maybe, you know, give Last Quiet Day a try. But, you know, as far as Light at the End, maybe wait a bit longer until it's actually out, see if it is any more realized or full than it is in its current state, despite the fact that I really enjoyed it. So, you know, maybe wait for it to be, you know, done. It is pretty glitchy.
Damn it, it's locked. But I'm guessing the key can't be too far.
Both games are pretty jank, so they could do with a bit more polishing here and there. But, you know, that's kind of to be expected with indie games, especially if they're not even totally fully out yet. I did have a lot of fun with both games, and while my mind was not blown in any way, I don't regret the time I spent with them. I thought they were pretty cool. I loved all the Easter eggs, loved the environment design, and I loved the character drama that it was going for, and I'm actually kind of interested to see where it goes in the future. Thanks for watching. I'm still working on fucking Death Stranding. It's a video essay, and the goddamn script for that right now is like 24 pages long, and I'm not even sure that all that's gonna make it in. But now I'm like, wait a minute, do I want to play Skyrim and Fallout 4 and just rant about those? Keep in mind, YouTube's not my whole thing. I'm a teacher, and that sucks. I'm also in grad school, and that sucks more. And I felt legitimately bad that I haven't been putting out YouTube videos as much as I would want. So, and I want to get back to doing that, but my time is divided between a lot of other shit. But I'm doing my best. My emotional state's not been the greatest these past few months, but I've been chugging along, and I hope that you guys are all chugging along as well. I hope that this video can satiate some of your Ragnarok hybrid desires, at least a little bit. But until the next big video, everyone, please take care. My album, my alt-rock album, Twilight Supernova, second album I've ever released, and it's the only good one, by the way. Twilight Supernova is out. It is totally free. It is streaming now. I'll have streaming links in the description. You can listen to it. You can download it, do whatever. People seem to like it. I like it. I think I'm pretty proud of it. If you want to take a listen to it, please share it around. Let people know. The whole reason I made it free was because I'd rather have people listen to it and enjoy it and share it around and get to know my stuff more rather than trying to eat. Also thinking about making a Patreon, so maybe that's something I'll talk about in the future. But till then, see you guys later. Have a good one. Peace, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.